What's up, everybody? Welcome to Crafter Hours. This is the stream series where we get together and work on something that's a little bit more long-term, a little bit more of a long-term project. We've been working on the new emaxpackages.com site, which is not yet deployed, but it will be soon because the work we're going to do today will help us get set up for that. And then maybe on Wednesday, we will actually start deploying the site to a real server in the cloud using Geeks. So I'm pretty excited about that. Excited about getting something real online using Guile and Geeks. I haven't done that so far. Like, I've experimented a little bit with writing Guile applications and putting them on the on a VM locally, but I haven't done it on a server yet. So I'm pretty excited about finally having that accomplished, so that we can then start building on that and try to see what else we can do with it. There's a lot of other ideas I have for sites or for things for the community that I want to do that I just haven't gotten around to yet. And this is sort of like the first step towards having a good foundation to build on to make more cool things. And it feels good because, we did a lot. Pretty much all the work on this site has been done during the streams. And once we got this site up and running and, it's serving its purpose of being an index for Emacs packages for people, people can, post their tips and configuration snippets and whatnot. Then we can move on to other interesting projects. I have a few in mind. I'm not really going to list them out right now, but there's a lot of fun stuff that we can do coming up soon that will be kind of building on what we've learned so far in these streams. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be fun. All right. So to say hello to the people who are here so far, say hello in the chat if you're around. Hello to Glenn, to Lev B, to iTycho over on the YouTube side. I think Luis said he couldn't make it today, or at least not until later. But it's okay. We've got a few people in the chat here so far, which is great. So let's see anything else interesting happening. I'm still working on the example project for the Data Star video that I want to put out. I'm still planning to put that out soon. This week is really the idea. It just really depends on whether it gets done or not. I'm trying to figure out the best way to make the point that I'm trying to make with the example project in the video, because I'm trying to show how you can make a fully dynamic web application using only code on the back end without having to write any JavaScript code on the front end, and to replicate something that would look like a modern single page application, at least at a basic level. So it's taking a little bit of time to get all the patterns worked out for that, but I did want to try to do enough coding on my own to really understand what the model could look like before I start to promote that in a video. So it's taking a little bit longer than I expected, but I think it will be worthwhile in the end. And a lot of what I've figured out through that process can be applicable to other projects that we're going to be working on in Crafter Hours. So it should be pretty useful for that too. So that video should be out pretty soon. And it will be related to what we've been talking about in these Crafter Hours streams the last few weeks regarding the Data Star framework. So there'll be some more explanation about what that is, why I decided to use it, and how you can also use it in your own projects, regardless of whether you use Scheme or not, which I think that should be pretty useful. Hey, Luis. All right. So before I get into the actual meat of things, I wanted to mention that let's see, what's the right way to describe this? In honor, I guess, of us possibly deploying the website this week, because I think that's kind of a big milestone. I decided to put a little discount up for the hands-on Guile Scheme for Beginners course that I created last year. It's an on-demand course that teaches you about how to write scheme, basically scheme from scratch in a way. We go through the fundamentals of scheme and then the fundamentals of functional programming. And then we go specifically into GUILE scheme and how to write practical applications with GUILE scheme, like modules, how to do things with the file system, how to debug GUILE applications, how to interactively develop GUILE applications with Geyser. Anyway, there's a whole lot of stuff on the page for the course. If you go to systemcrafters.net, there's actually a link on the front page that will take you there to get the information about it. But the important thing to note is that there's a $50 discount on the price of the course right now for the whole week. So up until, I think, the end of day on Sunday, this discount will be up. So if you've been interested in checking out the course and you want a good reason to do it, then there's a discount for that. So you can check out this discount code here on the on this link that I have here. It's also in the description, I think. So it's just the promo code of Crafter Hours. So you put that in and the discount will be applied at checkout. So give that a look if you are interested in taking the course. That is on demand. You buy it, you get into it immediately. You can watch the videos, read the material, follow along with the exercises, etc. So it's a good time, I think. Some folks here have taken it, and I think it went pretty well. So if people have questions about it, please feel free to ask in the chat or find me offline. All right, so today, what we're gonna try to do is finish up a few of the final details that I feel are necessary before we finally deploy the site. We can just deploy it today, but there are a couple things that probably need to be decided upon before we deploy so that we don't have to make breaking changes to the way the site behaves later. It doesn't really make a big difference, I guess. Like, we could break the site, it's no big deal because it's only gonna be a staging deployment for now, but I kinda wanna do things in a somewhat responsible way. So I figured it would be good to try and deal with some of these details right now before we deploy the site. So what are those details? Well, one is how we deal with password hashing. So far, we've been using a really lame strategy for what they call salting the passwords that get stored in the database. It's basically a way to give an extra layer of protection to prevent people from being able to crack the passwords if they manage to get a hold of the hashes somehow. I don't know. This is just a standard practice people use for keeping passwords. So we kind of need to do that because it requires putting some extra information in the database table. So we'll have to add a database migration to add a salt column and then start storing that information along with user accounts. Also, there is a session token secret that we need to make configurable. That needs to be something that is applied in the environment, let's say, so that a person can't easily crack open session tokens that are being given out via cookies whenever the user logs in on the site. It's just a decent security practice that is probably a good thing that we should do. So we should get that figured out before we have people logging into the site and having active sessions. Of course, it wouldn't matter too much on that particular issue, because if we change the session token secret, it just means that the server can no longer decrypt existing session tokens, and it will just seem that they're not authenticated anyway. So they would probably just be treated as not being logged in. That's fine. Also, figuring out a stable package ID strategy. So currently on the website, we're using numeric IDs for identifying packages, but we kind of need to have a way to identify a package in a reliable way across. Trev says, sorry, this might sound stupid, but we also need a pepper column. Yes, I'm gonna put a pepper column. I'm just gonna put Trev sucks in every value of the columns. Just kidding, Trev. Yeah, so we need a stable way to identify packages. I mean, typically you could just use the name of the package, like denote or something like that, but I'm not 100% certain that's gonna be effective, but it may be the only way. So we just need to decide that that's what we're going to do. In theory, package names should be unique across all Emacs repositories, because, in fact, I don't really even know what would happen. If, like, say you had denote on GNU ELPA and you had denote on MELPA at the same time, you have both those package repositories loaded in to your Emacs configuration. Which one would it choose, I wonder? Maybe it does it based on MELPA. Maybe it does it based on which package archive is first. Okay, so denote itself is not here, but there's other denote packages. I wonder if there's any that might be on both. Elpa. Like Ace Window or something like that. I think Ace Window's in here now. Is Ace Window in Melpa? It's a good thing to figure out. Yeah, Ace Window's here too. And it's got a different version. So maybe having the package name be the thing is the right thing to do, but we also need to make it possible to have that package showing up from multiple repositories, even multiple ELPA style repositories. It's what I'm kind of coming to the conclusion of here. Obviously, a package can be in Geeks as well, and we want to represent that. And I think we set things up so that that could possibly be tracked, but we might need to take a second look at that. Basically, what I mean is package models, package source. Yeah, we got package source separately. So we just need to make sure that we can store those sources. What? I have no idea why some of these comments are here anymore. Anyway, we need to make sure that we can store multiple sources, even if they're different ELPA repositories for the same package. And that's fine. I think we could do that. We just need to make sure it works in the sync script. The other thing we need to do is set up an initial package sync script that gets run on profile activation. At least that's what I'm thinking right now. The idea is that when we build the Geek server configuration, we don't actually have a database populated yet. But when we deploy to the server, if there's no database yet, we need to sync all the package archives into the database on the server. I mean, I suppose one thing I could do is go manually run the script, because in theory, it should only be needed the first time. So maybe it doesn't need to be automated, but it would be kind of interesting to see how one would automate that so that you can deploy to a server and have it automatically have all the package repo data synced whenever it boots up. So we'll take a look at that as well. I also mentioned implement package repo data sync merge. Maybe that's a separate stream. So let's just put that on like a next time kind of deal, because I think we're going to have enough stuff to do today to not really need to look into that yet. Let me turn on KeyCast tab bar mode too. All right, so that seems like a pretty good set of tasks to do today. What you think about that? Hello to I Am Sweg over on the Twitch side. I don't know about you, but I'm having fun. I'm having fun building an app with Guile. I feel like I'm learning a lot. And I feel like it's giving me some ideas on some more stuff to write. Invisible Monster Can, yeah, it's the special flavor. So, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about it. I'm also... Louis says, there are some ways to have the salt and the hash on the same column. That's what we do in the work application. Yeah, I guess you could do that. There's really not a reason. There's no reason not to do that, but I guess having it on a separate column is a bit more, gives you a little bit more flexibility, I guess. All right, so let's get started with the salting issue. Let me see here. User, no. Oh, it's the wrong repo anyway. Users.scm. So, name, password, full name. Yeah, hashed pass, make password hash. Password needs a salt. So I need to generate a salt. Generate a salt for the user password. I probably need to make that a separate little thing here. I can just take this for now. I mean, for now, I can even just say, you know, put that in the same way. Salt. All right, so that would store it once I have one. And then also, Select name from users where name equals name and password equals password. So to do this, I'm gonna have to do this is to check the user password. Give me 1 second. So I need the user's salt so I can encrypt the password that they are using to match it against what's in the database. So I need to look that up first. Excuse me. Read user salt db username. Do a little similar thing here. I don't know if there's a better way to do this, but that's fine for now. So SQLite prepare select salt from users where name equals name. And then name is username. Set result and SQLite step statement. GK Suda says salting passwords. I'm getting deja vu. Why is that, GK Suda? Because you had to do it recently. We're gonna want the actual row information back from this. We're gonna match it. I need a macro or something to make this a bit cleaner because it's starting to get a little bit repetitive. Okay, so that should give us the result. We finalize and then we bail out. Okay. So then I haven't started the server up yet. We'll start it up in a second. So select salt from user where name equals name. I'm gonna use a. Wait, what? Okay. Yeah, so let's, we don't need to do a let star on this because we're not gonna use it in another binding. So salt is read user salt db username. Okay, and then here we're just gonna put the salt in for making the password hash. All right, so the only other thing that is really important here is generating a salt, and that needs to be somewhat unique. We have the hashing library in place. We could probably just like create a hash out of some information, but it can't be like guessable. See you, Luis. GK Student says, I'm sure you covered this a few weeks back. Well, I didn't actually implement salting correctly back then. What I did was I set it up so that it can be salted, but we just didn't generate salts and store them in the database yet. That's the thing we're missing right now. Okay, so now. We could say like, excuse me, name. Hey, Peter. I don't really know what the best practices are for salting strings, but I'm guessing, let's see, how to generate a good password salt. add the self-provided password by appending or prepending it. What? Hash it and verify if the hash matches one stored in the database. Okay, what am I hashing with right now? SHA-512. Okay, so they're just appending the salt, right? Oh, and we're not using the salt here either. Where will you deploy this? AWS, asks Fikri. Hey, Fikri. No, on a provider called Contabo. That's in Europe. Okay, so string UTF-8 password. Yeah, so I guess we just append it, right? Append, string append. Such nesting. Here we go. Fine, whatever. So we've got the password and the salt. SHA-512. Is 512 not good? Must be fine, right? Okay, so we got the password and the salt. Peter says just use a random string. What I was going to use is like the username plus the date and time or something like that. Actually, we could string format this. But maybe a random string is better. I mean, kind of like MD5 hash. Random is better. Trev says, yeah, random probably is better. So, but you don't normally prepend it? I don't know. Do you? I can prepend it. I'm not an expert on this, so I'm glad to have you here telling me what to do. So, I'm guilty of using salt as a salt. Salt should be unpredictable from client side. Okay, so what we can do then is, can I like take a random integer? Nginx VPS, GK Suda says, yeah, we're gonna use Nginx on a VPS, that's right. Take a random integer and then like do an MD5 hash of that or something like that, of the string of that. Is that something I can do? How would one get a random string? I don't remember if there's like a rand function somewhere. Here we go. Pseudo random numbers. Seed random state. Let's get Geyser open here. Okay, so there's seed random state. Wrong number of arguments. Okay, seed to random state. Oh, okay, gotcha. You essentially want random bits in front so the registers in the crypto are already shuffled. Okay, good point. GK Suda says, can you salt, pepper, and hash brown the entire SQL row and then repeat again for each table? I don't know, dude. How would one do that? Random. What does random look for? Oh, seed to random state, current time. Okay, so there's random state, random. Okay, random in. Return a number in. Oh, okay, cool. That's fine. And then in the, let's see, Guile hashing. Bad gateway. Where is the package? I feel like I've seen this before. You shouldn't need to hash the random number. Okay, so you're just saying you just, okay, use it as bytes. Let's see, string to UTF-8. Is that in byte vector? Is it enough though? I feel like it should be more than just numbers. Okay, gotcha. You shouldn't need to hash the random number if you have a big int. But I feel like if the salt is just a string of numbers, wouldn't it be a little bit weaker? Feels like I kind of need to have something more than that. But tell me if I'm saying something stupid though. I guess I could just use SHA-1 or something. No code. Oh, yeah, I'm in the wrong. See, I need to be. Excuse me. So geeks shell im manifest.scm. Users unexpected end of line. Random 128 bits. What am I looking for right now? Check parens. Right, I didn't finish this yet. I just wanted to run for a second. Let's see. Converting byte vectors to from integer lists. Interpreting byte vector contents as integers. Okay, here we go. Byte vector contents can readily be converted to from lists of signed or unsigned integers. Return a newly allocated byte vector consisting of the unsigned 8-bit integers in the list. So 128 bits. I'm trying to do math right now, and I'm failing. Where did my Emacs go? Oh, there it is. Thank you, Trev, because I'm failing to think this morning. Okay, so if I just generate 16 U8s and turn it into a byte vector and turn that into a string, let's try that out in the REPL. We're going to close that one out. We're going to geyser connect. All right. So use RNRS byte vectors. And it said U8 list a byte vector. So make list. What is, oh. What is make list doing? Guile. List constructors. Okay, right. The number of elements and the value that's supposed to be in there. I'm trying to think of the right way to do this. Is there a way to get like a random list? Map, okay. Map random cooter IOTA 19. Okay. Is that right? Got it. So it's 16 numbers. Yeah, that's basically what I'm looking for, right? But I want that random to be... Oh. 256, right? Prepend the hash before the salted password in the database to save yourself a field and a migration. Prepend the hash before the salted password. So you're saying I'll just look it up once, like I have it in the same... Doesn't that... Does that like affect the security of it at all? Yeah, I understood what you meant. I'm not sure if it's the... Let's see. What was I doing? Yeah. U8 list byte vector. Okay, so that's a byte vector. And then I want to turn that into... No. Let's see. What was I doing in the users library? SHA-512 to string, SHA-512, string to UTF-8. So MD5, if I wrap that in MD5, maybe. Got it. And then MD5 to string. There you go. So that looks like a pretty decent little salt, doesn't it? Grab what? I don't think we want the cooter though, do we? Argument out of range. Oh, wait, hold on. I didn't fix the... Where did that go? This one. We're only using MD5 to generate a string, a hash string out of the byte vector. Is this overkill? Tell me. Wrong type to apply. No prepending the salt. Yeah. That's what I understood too. Random 256. Wrong type to apply. Got two maps in here. Hex representation. What the hell did I do? Made a mess. I mean, I could do, let's see. So if I take a U8 list a byte vector and then argument out of range. Wait, did you see that? Yeah. Whatever I've done in this, though, it's not interpreting it correctly, so maybe I'll stick with what I had. Does it matter? I mean, I know it's like it seems overkill, but does it matter that much? I'm asking legitimately because I don't know. All right, so that's... Stop it. Anyway. There we go. We have something that generates a salt. And it generates a hash password using the salt, which is basically just prepending it. And what Peter said is that we can just prepend the salt. Rudy Shoe says your goal is complete enjoy. Complete enjoyment? Yes. Or my goal is complete and now it's to enjoy. All right. So yes, I don't need another column for this necessarily, but I need a way to reliably break the salt off the front of the hash password string. So I'd have to like chop the string in half using a delimiter or something. I'm guessing like a pipe character or something that wouldn't show up in one of these hashes, at least in the, won't show up in the MD5 hash. Do I though? Does MD5 have a consistent length? Okay, so hashes have fixed length. Produces a 32 character hexadecimal. Some MD5 implementations typically represented as 32 hexadecimal. If the salt always has the same length, there's no issue. Okay, yeah. Assuming that it does, so okay, let's just get rid of that then. Let's try it without the change to the database table. Maybe we can just do it as it is. And we don't need to read it separately, which is kind of nice. I'm going to leave that here, though, in case we do need to come back to it. Delimiters will conflict with random bits sooner or later unless you base 64 it or something. Would an MD5 ever have other characters, though? Because it says hexadecimal. But maybe that's not true. Because all I need is up to a certain point. Okay, so what you're saying is just don't use a delimiter. Yeah. If I know it's going to be the same length, then I shouldn't need a delimiter. So select name from users where name is name, password is password. What I'll actually do instead is not look for the password. And then once I have the password, I don't need name. I just need password. Got it. So we got password here, and then let salt substring string start end 32 or 31, I think, right? Not only for the database, but it's a nice oblique data element, which is only unpacked in new password and check password functions. Okay, yeah, makes sense. Details the implementation will not ripple to the rest. Got it. I'm loving the input here. Thank you. So we got a salt. Then we've ripped that off. We also wait. Ah, okay. So got it. All right, now I'm trying to do the mental math here of how I'm going to verify this, but now I got it. So string equal. No, just equal. Password, and make password hash for the user submitted password. Let's call this real password. No. Yes. Okay. So that should be better. I'll have to double check it though. I think we can do this in the REPL as well. Password hash pass. Got the salt. Hash pass with the salt. No, so make password hash. Yeah, we hash it along with the salt. So salt, password, then we SHA-512 it. Got it. All right. I'll move this just for my sense of aesthetics, which are not really lining up right now anyway. Okay. So let's try to create a user with the new salt. Let's go back into the REPL. What is this? Site models users. Site models users. Now, I will create a user. And also, yeah, okay. I have DB here. Yep. So create user DB open. I think is the procedure for that. DB open. Name. Billy. Password is 12345. And then full name, email, billy@billy.com. Bio, I'm Billy. So, unbound variable. Oh, yeah, because I didn't put a exclamation point. Table users has no. Where did I put salt? Whoops, salt. Select what? You like that, Trev? Oh. Got it. I had not reevaluated these procedures since I fixed them. So that explains why. All right, we've reevaluated that. And then we're going to reeval the user password match procedure. Let's go create the user again. All right, so I've got a user now. And then I can go and use the user password match procedure. User password match. DB open. Username is Billy. Password is foo. False. Password is 12345. False. All right, let's see why. I'm wondering if the substring that I'm grabbing is incorrect. Wrong port. Oh, yep, you're right. Yeah. I think that's the problem. So it still says false. Let's also write out the hashes. Actually, did I not do a new line? What the hell? Are you kidding me? Oh. Reading the wrong thing. No wonder. Okay, let's make the password hash. Just see how different they are. Oh yeah, something is not right. The output is very different. Is it consistent? Yeah, it's consistent. Emperor Maximilian says, what is the website? Well, it's emaxpackages.com, but it's not currently deployed yet. Peter said, I heard he was the GOAT. Oh, wow. Wait a second. Once again, I did not plug in the laptop before I started the stream. Luckily, I saw the alert saying that the battery was almost dead. I really need some kind of assistant to keep me from making really stupid mistakes, because I tend to do that often. All right. So Have you done JS front-end stuff? Yes, I have done JS front-end stuff. You mean like on the project or in general? The answer is yes to both. Okay. So the question is, what did I do wrong? Let's try this again. I'm going to create a new user. I'm going to make sure I write out the salt at first to make sure I'm pulling the salt back out correctly. You need a Thunderbolt doc. Well, I have a doc. And it was flaky. I probably should try it again. But the dock is plugged into the monitor, so well, the monitor is the dock. Anyway, point is like it's not that straightforward in my current streaming setup because I have 2 computers driving this whole thing. All right, so let's see. We're gonna write out the salt whenever we create the user just to check it out. Okay, salt. So let's create a new user. All right, so that's the salt. Can we remove the MD5 hashing of the salt? Maybe a decent desktop? Yeah, I already bought a laptop. I can't buy a desktop now. All right, so that's the salt of the created user. Let's try to log in good old Jimmy here. Yeah, salt. Oh, God. Yeah, all right, so that's not the right thing to do. I see now what mistake I made. The string of pin needs to be outside, right? Because we need to rip the thing off the front, right? Okay, so string to UTF-8. String of pin salt. We're appending the salt to the hashed password. Is that right? Is that what I should do? I think that's what I should do because I need it in the clear so that I can use it, right? Yeah. So that was the critical error that I made. All right, so now we're going to create another user. Instead of this time being Jimmy, it's going to be Bimmy. And now we're going to try to log in good old Bimmy. And Bimmy logged in successfully because we stored the hash correctly on the password. Okay. So that's better, right? Are we good with that? Yay for Bimmy. Bimmy got logged into the site. So he's the first real user with the new authentication strategy. Good for you, Bimmy. Okay. Cool. So now we don't need the whole salt thing. Sorry, the read user salt procedure. Let me just take a little quick look at that. I want to take a look at the diff and make sure we're all good on everything. Take all these format statements out for sure. All right, take the salt off here as well. Cool. Seems cleaned up. All right, we got salt now. All right, that looks fine. Good, that's item number 1 off the list. So I'm gonna take a 2-minute break and I will be right back and we'll get on to loading the token hash from an environment variable. Be right back. All right. So let's get back to the crafter hours list. And I'll take, well, let's leave it for later. Oh yeah, and just for the people who have joined, whoa, hold on a second. Okay, I'm just making sure the battery is charging because it's telling me I have 8% left now, which doesn't make sense because I think I've got it plugged in and everything's good. Anyway, for the people who have joined after I mentioned it, I've got a $50 off discount on the hands-on Guile scheme for beginners course that I made last year. You know, that thing doesn't actually send you to the real page of the course. So let me just grab the link of that real quick. Anyway, go to systemcrafters.net. It's on the main page. You'll see that, but there's a promo code called Crafter Hours you can put in that would give you $50 off at checkout for the course. If you're interested in learning Guile schemes to do some of the things that we're doing in the stream today. So, session token secret. That's not such a hard thing to do. We go to session. So what we've been doing so far with session tokens is we've been encrypting them with a really lame token secret. And what this means is anybody who knows what the secret is by looking at the code of the project can then go and decrypt the token given back to them whenever they log into the website, or they can decrypt anyone's token and get the information out of it, which isn't necessarily such a bad thing. But I guess it means they could also forge a token if they know what the secret is and pretend to be logged into the website and also pretend to be a certain user potentially, depending on how we implement things on the back end. Because right now we're not really checking the token other than just the fact that they have it and we can decrypt it and see that the username information is in there. So because of that, we need to make sure that the token can be set externally through the process. Rev says, I want to be BIMmy. Yes, well, you can hack the site right now and be BIMmy all day long. So we need a way to load the token secret. I think the best way to do that would be to use getenv. And we've already got some pre-established pattern. For naming environment variables. So I believe if we were to use grep and check for site underscore, we're going to find site DB file name. So we could also say site session token secret. All right, and what this will do is look for the environment variable site session token secret, and if it's set, it will use that as the session token secret. Otherwise, it will just use a fake string, basically a fake token string, which is this dev session token secret. And that's only supposed to be used on the development version of the site. So that's an easy solution, but we need to make sure that we are setting that environment variable whenever the server is being executed or being loaded on the real production machine. So let's take a look real quick on what we've done here. So when we wrap the program, we're saying that site DB file name is var db emacs packages.db. I'm trying to think of the best way to do this in a secure fashion. Let's think about this for a moment. So we don't want to encode the session, the token secret in the Geeks config. Also, we don't necessarily want to store the token in the Geeks store as a file in the store. I mean, maybe it's not such a bad thing, but it feels like something we need a little bit more control over. It can be generated, but it needs to be generated once. So the token should not change across deployments to the same server. Generate once, use every time. Now, that could be something we use an activation script for. In fact, instead of having an environment variable, well, we can have an environment variable that can have a path to a file where the token secret is stored. Probably fine, right? Like if we have the token in a file, we load that into the server, then that file can be generated somehow. So let's see, Geeks activation service. It returns a G expression, which is a code snippet to run at activation time, e.g. when the service is booted. Is that not implicit in the signing of the JOT token? Which part? Because we have to have a token, right? So in the JOT token signing, right, there is proof that the client token is coming from the server. That's the point I'm making is that when you create the JOT token, if everyone knows what the secret is for creating the token, then someone could synthesize their own, I think, right? Unless the way that I'm making the token is, well, see, yeah. Because you need the token to decrypt you need the secret to decrypt the JOT token on the server side when it's being given back from the client. So if someone in the world knows what the secret is, they can make their own token. Unless I'm wrong about that. So we need a way to generate a token that is not stored in the code of the project, either in the configuration for the Geek server or in the source code itself. Let me check the Geeks code base real quick. Code, Geeks. Nope. But how are you leaking? You're going to prevent that? And what? How will you leak your secret, and are you going to prevent that and allow stuff to work? That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to find a way not to leak the secret by generating it on the server, not having it be hard coded in any of the source code of the project. generating it once on the server, let's say. Let's see, activation. This is server, okay, yeah, got it. Got right here, this is what we need. All right, so service extension, activation service type. Lambda files, activate, etc. Got it. So we just need to set up a service, which we already have a service. We can add another extension in the service. I go back to the config. What was it? Server.sem. Got it. We look at extensions here. 800-pound gorilla is using a CSR or just Acme with Let's Encrypt and leverage that infra. How would I do that? Because, like I said, I'm no expert on any of this sort of back-end security stuff. So I'm learning a lot from hearing from what people have done so far. You can add a service extension. I'm just going to do some really lame stuff so far. Yeah, Acme. I know about Acme. I haven't used it, but I do know about it. Service extension, activation service type. So how would I use Let's Encrypt for this? Would I shell out to something to use the certificate? And that's going to be a Lambda, which I could probably put somewhere else. Now, random private key is generated on the host. Okay. Site activation service. Yeah, that seems pretty involved. I mean, I'm sure it's super secure as well, but it does seem pretty involved. All right, so it's Lambda config, and we need a script basically to run as part of this. So activate, etc. There must be a procedure somewhere. Oh, is that a configuration? Where is that coming from? Technically, it should just be a normal file operation. Ooh. Yeah, for sure. We're just trying to generate a secret for encrypting the JOT tokens that are used for sessions. Yeah. Can we just generate a private key on service startup and keep it in memory? I mean, I guess so. I kind of didn't want to log users out every time I do a deployment. So like if I deploy an update to the server, I don't necessarily want them to be logged out. So that's why I wanted to have a relatively stable token so that their sessions continue to operate after the server gets redeployed. But maybe that's not a good thing to do. I don't know. I'm certainly open to feedback on that. All right, let's see. I think this is what I need to do. There's also the with imported modules, I think, geeks. All right, with imported modules. This is you want to be able to use certain GUILE modules from the host environment in the G expression, so this modules should be imported in the build environment. With imported modules form allows you to express that. Your cert comes with a free private key and a security protocol. Yeah, well, we have to make sure that it's generated first. So, random inject a key. Multiple independent layers have less single points of failure. All right. I'm trying to think how I would leverage all this, though. So in Geeks, there's the Let's Encrypt service. There's a certbot service type. And what I've seen with the certbot service type is that it is complicated to get to work right to start with. Typically, you need to inject a key as it needs to be shared over all front-end servers, or you need alternative session transfer techniques. Yeah, sure, if you have multiple servers. If we had that, that would be a different problem entirely. But I guess it is good to answer the question how one would do that if it was multiple servers. So let's see, certbot service type, configuration, certificates, domains. All right, Nginx deploy hook. Deploy hook, call with input file. We're basically sending a signal to the server to reload the configuration. Certbot handles everything. You probably need to set it up for the deployed service. Yeah, I'm going to for sure. Certificate configuration, domains. Okay, that's multiple certificates, it seems. Yeah, so it needs to plug itself into the Nginx config so that it can respond to the challenges. Extending Nginx web service with the Nginx server configuration listing on domains port 80, which has an Nginx location configuration for the well-known URI path subspace. Yep. Request the other URL paths will be matched by default location, which if present is added to all Nginx server configurations. By default location will issue a redirect from domain to HTTPS, leaving you to define what you serve on your site via HTTPS. Okay. Data type representing the configuration of a certificate. File name of a certificate signing request in DER, P, or PEM format. If false specifies argument will not be passed to certbot. Instead of using a self-generated CSR. I mean, we need to figure this out anyway. We got to have a certificate on the service. It's just that it's hard to test this locally because we don't have our local development server set up with the domain pointing to it. And you need to have the domain pointing to it because when you make these requests to the Let's Encrypt service, they need to be able to hit that endpoint. That they need to resolve that domain, make a request to your server to do the challenge. So we can't really just like do this as a dev exercise. It has to be done on the server. So maybe we have to wait until we're on the server before we can do that. Module provides a service to automatically obtain a valid TLS certificate. initial key generation, initial certification request to the service, web server challenge response, writing certificate this, automated periodic renewals, and deployment tasks associated with the renewal, reloading services, copying keys with different permissions. Certbot is run twice a day at a random minute within the hour. Won't do anything until your certificates are due for renewal. But running it regularly would give your service a chance of staying online in case a Let's Encrypt initiated revocation happened for some reason. Maybe it works better now than it used to. I don't know. Like I had some issues, or at least I felt I had some issues when I tried it in the past. But maybe that's because I was trying to use it for setting up the certificates for an XMPP server. You can use self-signed certs for local testing. Yep. I wonder if they get put in the same place. Because I don't know exactly where the certs get stored. I'm sure one of you know that, though. Okay, so let's assume. Peter says, this is a pain to get set up if your use case is slightly different from a web app on a VPS. Yeah. Let's go back to the code in session. All right, so if we were to use this sort of private key setup instead, I'm not entirely sure how to do the things that Peter was saying before with the CSR and whatnot. So file name of the certificate, signing request. Let me just scroll back a little bit. Certbot info, okay. Let's see, if I go into eShell. CSR is hidden by Certbot. You're just installing a lot of Python packages. Yes, I did, Trev, just for you. No, I didn't. Well, I didn't. So we're in graphical Emacs now, so it doesn't do that whole full screen flash that it was doing before. Hello. Got it. Okay. All right, let's think. Maybe we can, well, I guess the point was we're trying to avoid having to switch up our strategy after we do the deployment. Maybe that one is not as important. I would like to do a good job on that. And I think that what's being suggested is a better approach. But I might have to do a little bit more research on that offline to make sure that I do the right thing on it. We could probably just leave this as it is for now. What the hell? All right. I think this is going to be okay as it is. What else do we want to do? Stable package ID strategy. So let me just load up the site. So localhost 8080. If you can see here in the package listing, if we click on ACE window, we get packages/2 because we're using an integer as the ID for the package. I think I want to change that to be a just a package name instead. So like the packages/ACE window. It should be that instead. So we could try to do that. We're gonna have to resync all the packages potentially, or is there a way to switch? Peter's sharing an example configuration. Nice, thanks. I'll definitely take a closer look at that. All right, so let's see. If I go back to the packages, package model file. So package ID. How's that any different than the package name, I guess? I guess we should have a separate ID and name, but the ID itself should probably be not an integer, but a string. And that can also serve as the index. Trev says, I think the packages weren't inserted with their source. You're probably right. Yeah, I don't see that happening either. So is there a couple things that need to be done here? Let's see. Go to DB. No. Here we go, the migrations. So SQLite change DB index column. Whoops. I gotta change the type of an index on the fly without recreating the table. Not runtime. Is it possible that I need to like, hey Morgan, is it possible that I need to create a new ID column basically and phase out the old one? Is that what needs to happen here? Because I can't really alter the existing column. Or changing the data type of the column. So the primary key of the packages table. Yeah, Morgan has a good point. I think there are some packages which have duplicate names. I think I remember some TS mode variants that have been created independently without knowing of each other. The problem with that is that we can't really know which one is which. If we go based on name alone. So there's an invisible integer index column because automatically created. If we made an ID integer column, it's just an alias to that. Okay. So look, here's the problem. Where's the best place to write this down? So the problem is that the initial sync of all package details. Actually, maybe I put this in the org file just to make it a little bit easier to read. So the initial sync of all package details will produce a whole bunch of package entries. What happens when we sync again? How do we merge new information into the existing package rows? Kind of need to have a stable... We need a stable package identifier. Now, that doesn't really affect the URL that I was talking about before, because that's kind of a moot point. We can look up the package by name, but we do need a way to uniquely identify packages in a stable way without just a plain integer. It'd be nice if there was something... Well, I mean, okay, the integer's fine, so long as we can detect that new packaged information relates to an existing package in the database. We have to have a way to look that up. So maybe it doesn't necessarily need a stable identifier as much as it needs a way to look up an existing package in the database to see where to merge the information. So what are the pieces of information that we can use to identify a package? Well, there's the name. There's also the URL where the package comes from. There's also the source where the package comes from. Morgan says, as an example of a problem, my package has replaced a package in Melpa which had the same name. I effectively took over the namespace, but the Emacs mirroring repos are saying my package is a fork of the first one, but it was created independently and it's not a fork. Interesting that there's a mirroring service that's also dealing with problems like this. Peter says, I think there will be a lot of edge cases which will have to be picked off one by one. And I wonder what would be the best way to deal with that. Is there going to have to be like a, almost like a merge conflict pipeline where an administrator will have to go through a list of packages and kind of manually decide which package it relates to? Do we need something like that? There are potentially so many edge cases that it might lead to analysis paralysis. Well, is the assumption then that we should write a merge algorithm that handles the most obvious cases, then require human intervention for anything that is unclear? Where asserts in the code to show assumed invariance being broken. Yeah, I mean, cleanup scripts which look for these invariants. Also, I mean, I guess another possibility is create entries for the unmergeable package details and allow a user to request that the package be merged with another package. So sort of make it a feature, first class feature instead. So if another denote shows up because Protocellhouse moved repos again and we can't really determine whether it's the same package, create another denote entry and then have a way to merge it. Merge the things that we know that we store invalid request data in an error table for post-processing. Yeah. And what Morgan says is interesting because there's a package with the same name, but I think the name is not the only piece of information we would use to say that they're the same package. Maybe these sources have to match up as well. Like one of the sources has to be equivalent. Like from the same Git repository. Yeah, make a good enough pipeline to check. Are you saying Are you saying we could just do sort of an MVP of just making good enough better? Yeah, of course. I mean, that's of course what we're going to do, because I'm not going to sit here and try to implement the perfect solution. I want to get things done as painlessly as possible. So maybe we don't even need to change the DB at all. What I mean is leaving the numeric ID is fine, because the numeric ID is sort of just for joins. And the names of packages in the database don't necessarily need to be unique. If you search for denote, it could say, oh, there's 3 packages with the name denote, and here's what they are. And that could be a way that someone could detect that there's information that needs to be merged. Did I set the schema to require the name to be unique? Let's see. Name text not null. Good. Okay, so it doesn't need to be unique. We should even do a migration now, or just full wipe until we have a production build deployed. Yeah, we could do that, but I don't think we need to change anything at the moment. Primary package ID kind, version, commit. Okay. Well, the thing we're not doing is storing package sources. GK Suda says maybe a namespace like package/melpa/package name to avoid duplicates. I mean, that would work for URLs. Script it. Yeah, we could massage that currently. Let's think. One of the package headers is a created field, although some packages don't set it, but in case of name collision, you could ask the package maintainer to set it. Potentially, yeah. Just thinking, just thinking. All right, let's check out the sync archive script. Insert package, DB name, description, keywords, authors, maintainers. So yeah, insert package is not, we need to, packages, import archives, create package source. I don't think it is, though. I mean, we may put some bogus stuff in there, but I don't think it's populated currently. I'm thinking about... Let's say... Yeah, actually... There's a pretty good example of this. So you have Melpa and you have Melpa stable, right? In Melpa and Melpa stable, you're going to have packages that have the same name. So the sync logic here needs to assume that you may run into an existing package with the same name, and you may need to add an additional source for it. So it could be that when that syncing and merging details may be the same. So if you were to sync the details of a package archive, you're going to create new entries for things that don't exist already, and you're going to update things that do exist, and you're going to have to do that already. So I think that the implementation for initial sync versus update sync, the algorithm is effectively the same. And this is not good enough what we have right now, because we're basically just looking over all the ELPA package information that comes back from an archive and just inserting rows. So we need something a little bit more sophisticated than that. And I think we have some time to try to implement it. URL is kind of the important thing, because I think that would be the real unique identifier, even across to geeks. Because let's say if I were to look at the package definition of geeks packages by name, denote, come on. The home page is the denote website. We also have the Git repository, Git fetch, yeah, GitHub / Protocol the node. So the URL, Trev says, I guess I'm confused if we will have one page for a package, then on the page have all the versions available. Well, we will have all the sources available and what the latest version is across the sources, because we do have that. In the database, we have package source, which joins the package ID with the kind, which is sort of the kind of source like ELPA, MELPA, etc. The version, also commit, and commit is something that's coming from. Yeah, right. So the denote page would have all possible sources of that package, and it may turn out that we end up separating that. But I think if we look at we have that showing up? I don't think we have that showing up, do we? No, we don't actually store the information there. Whoops. Anywho. Yeah, so basically we need to have the algorithm expect that there might be entries with the same name. Because if you look at MELPA versus MELPA stable, you're definitely going to have that. So if we go to, and we already saw that with ACE window, right? So ACE window is on MELPA. And is it on MELPA stable also? Because it's also an ELPA. And that's kind of the perfect, yeah, it's on MELPA stable too. So you've got one package that's literally on 3 different locations. And the question is it the same? Yeah, same version. So that's actually a great test case. So we need to deal with ACE window. Also, what is ACE window in Geeks? It's also 0.10 and from the same location. BELPA, BIMI's ELPA package, list package archive. Yes, that's what it's going to be now. Is for an initial implementation, some priority algorithm not okay? Well, I think that what I'm coming to the conclusion of is that the homepage / repository path is sort of the unique identifier at first. The package name certainly is the first kind of key we use to determine if a package may be the same, but then we also have to check the source of the package, which is the URL. And if that's the same, then we can pretty much assume it's the same package. But if it's not, we may have to create a different entry and store that separately. So If I were to write that down as an algorithm, or let's say as a description of an algorithm. So look up the package by name in the DB. Look up the equivalent. Well, let's see. Look up the existing sources to see what URL they point to. If current package, or if new package URL is the same, add this as an additional source. Otherwise, create a new, even with the same name. Now, that part is questionable. Because in a way, it would be nice if you went to our website /packages/denote. If you saw that there was another source that didn't match the rest. Because if you search for denote, there's two options. One is you give it the denote package that is first. Like if there's two package entries in the database with the name denote, you either give it the first entry, or you show information for all packages with the name denote, or you show the first entry and then you say, oh, there's another package named denote, and then have a link to that one as well. But the name needs to be unique somehow, so that it can be addressed specifically. Peter says, always fun if you have to negotiate with less than pristine data quality. Well, that's definitely the world we're in, as Trev found as he was trying to make some other repos work, because the data is often not in the same format, even across different entries in the same archive. So yeah, it's not perfect for sure. So yeah, look up the package name in the DB, look up the existing sources to see what URL they point to. So that might require some changes to how we store package information. Not how we store it, but how we interface with it. So if I were to go back to package.scm here, read package keywords, read package authors. Okay, so that's fine. Those are all by package ID, and that's no problem. You almost need to read packages by name. So the package name, version number, and source URL could be the same as all three or more package archives. Yeah, I would say the version number could be different, because they will be different. The MELPA version number is always date-based, and the MELPA stable version number is based on whatever version the package itself has defined. Peter says, I think this is an honest, good application for AI. Deal with data quality algorithmically first, data mapping second, and then let an AI flip a coin and hope it's better than random. Well, an AI probably could do a pretty decent job of saying whether two records are the same or not, just by sort of describing them well enough and then asking it if they're the same. It's possible. I don't know if I want to integrate AI into this whole operation, but I can see how that would, like, a step before having human intervention could be putting an LLM into the mix and let it make a decision, because it would probably be right enough of the times that you wouldn't need human intervention at the end, except for in very strange cases. But I think the conclusion that I'm kind of coming to as I've talked through this is that maybe we don't really need to worry too much about merging packages, so long as if there are multiple packages with the same name, it's easy to figure out which the right one that you're looking for. And if it's possible later for an administrator to merge a couple packages together. Peter said that would be a nice to have after all other nice to haves are there. Yes, well, for sure. It's something that could be implemented in the future if it was determined to be valuable. It would be an interesting exercise, that's for sure. All right, so read packages by names. And I'm saying packages because there could be multiple packages with the same name. DB package name. Copy and paste more code here because we haven't abstracted this yet. We will eventually, we're gonna have to, that's for sure. Name is name. And this is actually gonna be a map instead of a plain old step. So SQLite map. Yeah, it's actually a little bit simpler. Not proc. We actually need to have, yeah, the proc here is going to be a match lambda. All right. So read packages by, not names, by name. And also I need to change the ID here to name. So read packages by name. Am I still in the... Say what? Got it. All right, so let's go back to the REPL. Geyser. We're going to go into the site models package. Peter says, but it could open the door to other features like link to relevant mailing list archive threads for packages. That could be cool. I mean, that's actually not a bad idea. Yeah. You just sort of feed email threads into an LLM and ask it to sort of classify which package it could possibly be talking about. That's kind of interesting, actually. That's a good thought. I hadn't thought about that. All right, so you'd need a VM with a lot of RAM, though, I think, or a graphics card attached, which would be expensive to do that. Read packages by name, db open, denote, and we got the denote package, so it does work. The other part is updating metadata like the authors and description and whatnot from the different package sources. I don't know if that should be additive or to be replaced. We'll have to look into that at some point. I don't want to write the whole syncing algorithm right now, but I do want to try to at least make it so that when we add packages from multiple repositories, we're adding source entries. And I think that the other thought that we were having is that whether we would need to change the database schema to accomplish this, and I think that the answer is no, so we might be okay from that perspective. So let's go ahead and just try to get this implemented as fast as possible. The other thing I want to do is in the routes, I want to change the way that we handle the ID for packages. Packages detail view, package action handler, package tip vote action handler, bring to number tip ID. Let's think about that for a moment. Package tip vote action handler. So if I go to tips, vote action handler, tip ID, I think what I need to do, sorry, package ID. I think I need to have a way to handle either a string or a numeric ID as the package ID. because I want packages slash ID to actually use the name. It could use both. It could use the normal ID, but it could also use the package name. And it could also use the package name with a appended ID as sort of a more unique key. So it might need to do both. Let's take a look at package view. And that is for packages detail view, okay? We got ID here, string to number ID. So we need a way to determine whether it's a string or a number. Maybe this is a terrible idea, I don't know. So if I try to say string to number, foo, it's gonna throw an error. No, okay, string to number. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, so it returns false if it can't turn it to a number. What about 1, 2, 3? Cool, so that's pretty easy then. If I go back to package in the models thing here, so define package. What would I call this? Normalize package ID? Resolve package ID? And where would I be calling this? There's no, okay, there is database here. Okay, cool. Resolve package ID, package ID. So, not really even resolving it, is it? Up. So let's think about that for a minute. If I know this seems a little bit weird, but bear with me. I think what I'm trying to do here is, all right. There are 3 ways a package ID can be represented. 1, 2, 3, denote, 1, 2, 3. And I want that to be kind of uniform in URLs so that regardless of which way you go, you can resolve the package correctly. Why? Because when I generate UI from the backend and I'm trying to have DataStar send actions to the backend, I would rather it have the actual numeric ID so it's faster to reference that in the database. However, for the user side's perspective, whenever they're being linked to things in the website, I want it to have the name of the package or the disambiguated name hyphen ID, or maybe colon ID could be another potential approach. Let's see, valid characters in URL. I think a colon can be used, right? Characters such as colon slash, yeah, within the redirect value or encoded. Oh, they're percent encoded. That's fine. I don't really have a problem with being percent encoded. But still, because hyphens are in package names, so we don't want to have to deal with that. So there could be 3 forms of this. So if I were to match on a string split of package ID and colon, I think that's right. I should also be able to test this in the REPL pretty easily. And I need to make that public. Are we sure slash is an illegal character in Emacs package name? Is there a spec for that? I've never seen a slash in an Emacs package name. It's a good question though. What is it I'm looking for? Resolve package ID, okay. So we split, we look for, name ID. What is the other possibility? String split. Okay, it's just gonna be foo. So now this is in models package, resolve, oops. And we don't need the DB for that now. We don't need DB. False denote, denote 1, 2, 3. All right. Oh, and that should be a number too. So I need to do string to number. Okay. And then 1, 2, 3. Which is 1, 2, 3 false. Okay, so that gives us the 3 options. Trust says, is this why you wanted to make a new package ID column? Well, no, not exactly. I mean, I wanted to make it possible to uniquely identify a package, but as we're talking through this, I'm kind of coming to a different approach than what I originally had started off with. All right, so we have the ability to resolve a package ID, but yeah. So the other step of this is, and this is where the DB might come in. If we need to make a DB check to fetch the ID in the case where a name is only given. And maybe I don't return a const at all. Maybe what I return is just the number. Okay. I could do that. So in this case, it wouldn't be this. Let's use our friend MB5 across the ID and name. No. Why? Don't need to. So read packages by name. Oh, yeah, I want the ID out of that. So it's going to be package ID. Wrong type to apply. Ooh, I've overshadowed package ID. All right, so let's change that. Oops, not there. $92. Okay, and let's get rid of the consing. And we're also going to get rid of the consing here as well. And we can just say numeric ID here. Cool. All right. So that works the way that I expect it to. To make a unique identifier, we don't need one. We don't need a unique identifier now. We're going to have multiple entries in the database for packages with the same name when we decide that those packages are not the same by looking at the URLs of where the package source comes from. Does that make sense? That way, it's possible to find details about two packages that have the same name, but they aren't actually the same. We're not going to merge those things together necessarily. We'll have to see how it looks over time as we go, but I think that the better approach is to just allow there to be packages with the same name and reconcile that somehow. Let the user either find it or make it so that an administrator can merge them if it turns out that they are the same, even though some of their metadata is different. All right, so resolve package ID. Now back in the package.scm, not here. Yes, actually in the view. Read package full. Read package full. How could you merge packages with the same name but a different purpose? You wouldn't. You wouldn't. They just have the same name, but they would be different. So the website needs a way to present to you the fact that there's multiple packages with the same name. I think that's sort of the point. Because those packages that have the same name but they have a different purpose, their tips are not going to be the same either. So the tips need to be different. Does that make sense? All right, read package full. I think that anywhere I don't want that to leak through. So when I go to read package full, where was that? Where's it defined? Yeah, okay, it's in here. Package ID. So anywhere that we have a package ID, I think that needs to be reconciled. Showing the hits for the package name and let user LLM figure it out is the best we can do now. Yeah, I think. I mean, why not? Letting the user figure it out is not a bad thing. Because I think by looking at the metadata of the package, they'll be able to figure out which one it is that they're actually looking for. And if we give the user a URL to a package, we probably need to include the ID with the URL to be the canonical URL. So on the package, on the package detail view page, if you ask for a package by name without a specific ID, it will show you multiple packages with that same name, and then you will be able to click through to the details page for the specific version. I think that's sort of how I'm thinking about it. Or it will show you the details of all of them with the same name, and then you can sort of decide which one you think is the right one. All right, so read package full, package ID. This is a place where we could do. resolve package ID, DB. There we go. DB ID, ID. Okay. Let's think about that for a moment. Peter says, makes sense. Maybe add instrumentation to track number of hits returned to detect when that becomes a problem. Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. Like if you can track whenever package disambiguation is needed and which package it is that is most commonly being hit like that, then maybe it gives you a clue that there is some data that needs to be merged. So it kind of, that would bubble up to the surface for anything that was popular enough to have traffic, I guess. Now that I'm thinking about this, I don't actually want to let the database procedure handle that, because that's a higher level UI concern. Read package full. Also, the way that I implemented the model aspect of this, I definitely don't want to do car packages, okay? So that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. If I resolve a package ID and it's based on name alone, if they get 320 items returning, I really feel like that would be unlikely. Because there would only be, in theory, as many as there are possible sources. But I guess over time, if the sources change and some of them get out of date, then you may have extras floating around. So that does make sense. Okay. Got about 15 minutes left. I'm realizing now that I don't like what I just did. But I think that we do have a good model in mind going forward. The whole point of all this that we even got started on was because when we start up the server for the first time, after it's been deployed, we need a way to sync the archives and then have that information not necessarily need to be recreated again at some point in the future. Maybe that's a big goal that is not really important, because we're probably going to have to resync things a couple times, at least in the staging deployment, because we're not going to deploy this straight to prod on the first day. We're going to do a staging deployment to shake out any other possible issues, because there probably will be some. And then we will eventually have it production ready, let's say. So I think it's fine for this not to be perfect for the first deployment. And I also think that it's fine to have to manually go on the server and run the sync script after I've deployed it. Like if I run the sync script the first time, it's fine. When we have a sync script that can be run multiple times and the information can be reconciled correctly, which shouldn't take too long, then that sync script can be run on an interval. So like every night at midnight or something, UTC, or some other time, maybe whenever the United States is not as active. A script can be run to sync the package repositories to get updated data. And we might want to have a log on that as well. Like we want to see logs of what's happening. So the logs can be consulted to see if any kind of disambiguation was needed. Add the sync script behind an endpoint and trigger it from a cron job. That's not a bad idea. Like if an admin goes to a particular URL, it will trigger a sync. And trigger the URL from a cron job, or just trigger a script locally. We don't need to tie up the server with that, really. Okay. Just trying to think of what else we can do then. before we end the stream. What else do we have on the list? Peter says, I don't like to add background processing in initial versions and like to delay it till later. Yeah, I mean, it's nice if I can just sort of do it manually whenever it seems necessary. Have a bit more control over the process. Let me see. Stable package ID strategy figured out, let's say. Or never if it happens to turn out like that. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, as I say, you know, don't implement things until you need them. You know, automatic resyncing may not be necessary, at least for a while. So, sorry, when I say automatic resyncing, I mean like scheduled resyncs on an interval. Maybe doing it by hand, or just running a script by hand, let's say, whenever I feel like it is a better strategy at first. Decide what to do. Deferred until certbot is set up. Finished password salting algorithm. Package sync slash okay. We can drop this down here onto next time. I don't know if it'll be next time. Next time really will be, and let's say soon, because we need to do these things soon. I want to have like a backlog that is a bit more higher priority than just the full backlog, which needs to be cleaned up. Fix that. Finish porting package details in our database. Search for packages by name on the site. We didn't implement that. We almost got there. I guess we could do that. So how would that look? I had started looking at that. So if I look at routes, for any route, I did authenticate these. Yeah, so this is really the one that needs to be fixed. Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine. This is tip ID. And we're not even dealing with a package ID in that case. So tip action handler. Package tip action handler. Tip action handler. Insert package tip, package ID. So in this case, we do need to make sure we have a package ID to refer to. Signals, package ID. That's coming from the request. So long as the package ID is being written into the state, which it is. Peter shares a link. Alpha Papa created a knowledge base for Emacs packaging. Yeah, I probably should look at that and see if it has any information about package naming. Okay, so package ID is coming from the page, and that should be getting generated with the actual package ID, so we don't have to worry about that one at all. So the ID is kind of superfluous here even on the URL, which is questionable a little bit. Kind of questionable. Maybe tips needs to have its own top level route, but I don't know. At least for this packages detail view, packages detail view, when we pull up based on the ID, what I want is for packages slash denote to actually load the denote package. Read package full. Yeah. So determine if the package ID is actually a name without an identifier. If so, display details of multiple packages. Now, with links to specific pages. So I think that's kind of it. Like if you use a string as the URL here for denote, let's say, then it's going to bring you to a listing for packages with the name denote, whatever we have in the database, and then you'll have to click through to the specific page of the package you're looking for to leave tips. I think that's the way that we're gonna have to do that. So the individual package details will only show up if the URL has a numeric ID or a package with a numeric identifier attached. I think that's a pretty reasonable way to approach it. So then if I were to go back to the procedure that I wrote, resolve package ID, I think what I would do is take the DB part back out. And then when it's just a name, I'm going to return false. Why? Because I want the code who calls this to realize it's going to have to use a different code path to deal with the fact that it's a package name and not an ID. So in this case, real ID or numeric ID, let's say numeric ID is resolve package ID, and that is ID or name, ID, and let's call this ID or name. And we can call this ID. And we don't want to do any of this other stuff just yet, because we're kind of branching on whether this ID is here or not. So if ID, then we go into a let with all the rest of this. And this is getting really nasty looking. I'm probably gonna have to break this out into two specific procedures. So packages, kind of awful. Let's drop that in here, wholesale. Okay, seems to be all cleaned up there. Otherwise, we're gonna have to render a page that has details on multiple packages with that same name. So I did not actually read packages by name. Need to export that. By name, DB, and then ID or name. And then in this case, we can name. Where's name coming from? Name. ID. Just thinking, do we have time to make this work? Div H1 multiple packages named, and then see map. We're just gonna make that a link probably. I'm gonna be lame for a second and just try to get this quickly hashed out. So package name, package. And then in the map is just gonna be packages. Okay, so let's get rid of the rest of this stuff here. And really what we want is just a link to the specific package so we can format this. We're gonna use a splice. Gonna be packages / name : ID. It could be just the ID, but I want to have like the URL contain the name so that it's easier to see. So in this case, it's gonna be package name, package, and then package ID package. Okay, let's reformat things. So we're looking for the ID. We resolve the package ID. If there's an ID, we're going to call into packages single detail view. In fact, we could probably just drop this into a separate function. So it's a little bit cleaner. Did we win, Trev? I don't know. That'll be for you to decide. All right, so that's that. Okay, ID or name, packages, repackaged by name, ID or name. We're gonna change ID or name to name. Here we go, if ID. So that looks good. Sure, whatever. Unbound variable context, ooh. Let me think about that. Context and body. Do I use body in either of them? Body? No, so I can just pass along context. That's fine. Package. Why? It's in there, the whole thing. Oh, let's star. Okay. And then on this one, I screwed up the pattern. Ah, right. I need to backquote this. DB and ID. What was the other thing? ID. Data signals, tip form. Don't need that. Boom. Okay. So let's see. If I reload the page, excuse me, reload the page, get an error of some sort. Let's go to the ANSI term, take a little quick look. Wrong number of arguments to packages multiple detail view. You're right, because I did not fix this. CTX. Multiple packages named note. No, there are not multiple packages named in note. I guess I should check that though, shouldn't I? Right. Interesting. So resolve package ID. If there's an ID, read package by ID, context, DB, context, ID. All right, so packages single detail view. That's probably a good way to do this. Oh, that's read package full. Okay, good to know. Fine. Also, we're actually going to steal this. All right, so check this out. I don't want to read package length. What I do want to do is say, so if we've got a const pair, if the is that right? No. If the cooter of the list let's pull this in the REPL real quick, just to double check. So that's true for sure, because the empty list is null. If we've got a list of one item, let's look at the cooter of foo. That's true. Okay, so null of cooter. If that's the case, then we're going to call packages single detail view context. Oh, and it's not even read package full. Kind of sucks, but I guess it's okay. Not so bad. So basically what we're going to do here is if there's only one package in the list of packages that comes back, we're going to read the full details for that package. Otherwise, we're going to disambiguate. And let's also take that out. All right, so packages, multiple detail view, ID or name, packages. I didn't reevaluate that procedure first. Possibly unbound variable name. Let me go back here also. Possibly unbound variable ID. ID. It's coming up a couple other places too. You missed it, Cal. You missed it. Yeah, I think the 404 handling needs to be happening somewhere else too. Package ID package. So let's see. Got that. All right, so that's fine now. Is this fine now? Yeah, that's fine now. That one fine. Unbound variable name. Packages read by name. That is ID or name. Okay, now I should be able to go to this page. There we go. Details for denote, because there's no disambiguation needed. I don't think that we have any other packages that need to be disambiguated yet, because we haven't loaded up any extra package details that would give us that. So we'll have to double check it next time, I think. But in theory, this should work to at least give us the ability to show that there are multiple packages with a specific name if you just go straight to packages/denote, if you happen to do that. Maybe that's unnecessary as a feature, but it is kind of nice to have a clean URL if there isn't multiple packages with the same name. Also, what about using a particular ID? So what if I use 123? It's not going to give me denote. It's going to give me something else. L search. Okay, so that does work too. So it gives me the correct details for package number 123, regardless of what the package name is in the URL. That's okay. That's not a big deal. What about if it's just the numeric version 123? I think, what was it, 97? That was the note. Okay, not 97, but whatever. Okay, we made some progress today on a couple different things. That's great. Let's take a quick look at the diff, because I don't exactly remember what all we did. Let's go to the full diff. So site activation service. So we didn't do this yet. Let's just take that out for a moment. I don't want that checked in. We'll do that some other time. Let's refresh. Okay, cool. Yeah, we want to keep our notes here. Okay, read packages by name. We do want that. But we do need to fill out all these details here. I'm leaving a lot of stuff kind of empty. Actually, we don't want that. Never mind. Resolve package ID. We are using that after all. Our salting procedure, which all is there. Yeah, we don't have to check that in, but let's check it in anyway, because it's not going to hurt anything. And then we've updated the way we handle the package view pages. That's good. And that's it, right? Okay. So I'll check all this stuff in after I end the stream. And then we can, on Wednesday, I think we'll try to go ahead and get a deployment started. JJ status, says Trev. I've been using JJ somewhere else, like on the Datastar test project that I've been doing. And I'm liking it. I think it's interesting. I'll be using it some more. So maybe we'll talk about JJ again at some point in the future. Maybe we'll use it on the stream at some point. Okay, I'm gonna mention it one last time in case you people weren't here before. I'm sure people are leaving now because they think it's the end of the stream. This week, I have a $50 discount on the hands-on Guile Scheme for Beginners course that I created last year. It's an on-demand course that teaches you about the basics of scheme programming the fundamentals of functional programming and also practical programming aspects of Guile Scheme. You go to the website, which is systemcrafters.net, and click the link for the hands-on Guile Scheme for Beginners course. It's in the middle of the page. You'll see all the details about the course, and there's a discount code called Crafter Hours that you have to put in, and it will give you the $50 discount on checkout. You can either click the link in the description below or in the development log. I'm going to leave that up there in the development log. That lasts until the end of well, let's say March 1st. So a week from now, this code would be active, and then you can check out the course, learn how to code in Guile Scheme like we do on the streams here. And we might, add some extra stuff to the course at some point in the future because there's things I'm learning here that would be useful to tell people about, but we'll see. But at any rate, if you're interested in learning Guile Scheme, check out the hands-on Guile Scheme for Beginners course with the discount code here. Make sure you use the discount code or you won't get the discount because it's only for you people who are watching the streams. I'm not telling anybody else about this. It's only for you guys. So make use of that if you like. All right. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate your time and attention. I'll get all this stuff checked in so you can check it out later if you are interested and if you want to contribute. Otherwise, we'll see you back here on Wednesday and we'll try to get the site deployed so we can check it out in a real world situation. So until then, thanks a lot for being here and happy hacking. We'll see you.